Hello to all of our life learners. Today we are doing our follow through episode on the Business of Life Masterclass podcast from our interview with Lara Klick. Her original episode aired on March 18th, and the topic is being experienced-centric while making real connections. Barb Zant here, founder of the lifestyle brand and blog, The Stay at Work Mom.
It's me, Debbie, Lundberg, performance and mindset coach with Presenting Powerfully.
But how great to have Lara on, owning the experience. That resonated with me. I absolutely love that. We all have memories of exceptional experience, and that it is fabulous. That's something I work for, and I want people that interact with me to have that as well. The theme of her episode for me was finding joy.
Yes, so much joy. And what a difference. Lara coming in over the years, but with this change with her starting her own business. And really, you think about the joy that she talked about, seemed like the joy came from her family. And she learned so much from her patients and families that it changed, which also changed her approach to life, because she has this, these two great children and her husband celebrating 29 years, having a medical challenge that she said will be lifelong, that in a lot of information, she seems to be in a phase of her life where she's taking all this personal and professional experience and packaging it not only into a book, but into speaking engagements. And if people aren't following her on LinkedIn, her articles are really empowering, very informative, and simply impressive on how she looks at how we are patients at times and we are caregivers at times. So there's so much in that, but to find joy in so many of the long hours and challenges she's had, it certainly does inspire.
Yes, and she's known as the patient whisperer. Let's talk about her song. I love The Greatest Showman, and both her Walk Up and her Walk Off song were from that movie, the Broadway, This Is Me. And it was funny because when I was listening to it, Chris is like, what are you listening to, Mom? I'm like, Barb, and I'm like, this is us. And then he's like, this is us. No, this is me. So
Yes.
I like the us and I like the me.
And she said she's unapologetically her, I believe, if I remember correctly, that she stays true to herself. And I'm sure that's how she and her family, it was part of navigating that system of being, as she called it, on the other side of the bed rail, that her son being a patient. And then I'm guessing as she went into leadership. So every time I listen to that song, I think about how many people are afraid to show who they are. It made me think a little bit differently, and that might not have been the theme of what she was sharing, because I know we were talking about being experience-centric, but I was thinking how many people are out there who have never heard the song, or perhaps have never thought about what the words mean or how to truly be themselves. And you and I are fortunate in our life learners. We're grateful for that. We get these people to come on the show who subtly or boldly or both at times have learned to truly be themselves and be proud of it and know that they're not perfect, and yet be that unapologetic self who's contributing and making a difference. So listening to that song definitely has that Broadway vibe, and that sense of I'm taking a stand. And I thought if I could sing well, it's one you'd want to sing really loudly, but I'm nearly tone deaf. So I sing it loudly enough, but definitely not as loudly as the voice that brings it home. So I don't know. We didn't ask Lara if she's a singer, if she sings that on her own. And I'm almost glad, because you might have us singing a song, Barb. But yeah, that was an interesting, and then she tied it in. We've had people use the same artist before, like Taylor Swift comes up sometimes, but we had it from the same, as you said, the Broadway in the movie, as the walk-off music too. Now, were you as familiar with the walk-off music? Because I wasn't as familiar with that.
I was not either. But both of them and just the whole Broadway show makes me want to dance.
Yes. Yeah. And it's empowering. And
Yes.
certainly that's part of Lara's message, is to be empowered to state what you want and be prepared, certainly. And, a lot of hers, of course, is around the medical situation. I couldn't help but think that that's also if somebody's going into a new job. That's where I started to translate it. And I'm working with
Yes.
some young professionals, and I love the range. I work with people from their 20s to their 80s. And in this same week, I got to work with somebody who's in her mid 80s and a couple of people who are in their mid 20s. And I was thinking, do they really feel like they have their voice? And even though they have a voice, do they know how to share it and really be heard? So I took her counsel and her answers in a few directions with that. How about you? What else did you like about everything that Lara shared?
She is an empty nester, and that is the next phase of life for me. And so that was the first thing that I implemented. She talked about how her kids allow her to still track with the 360, just to make sure they get home at night. And so I talked to Christopher, and so I have him on my 360. And then she talked about making sure not only at the empty nester stage, at all stages of relationships, to make sure that we're connecting with our partners outside of kids and family, and making sure that we nurture our relationships. So that was
Mm-hmm.
something, as I just came back from spring break, that really I'm working on, and planning a trip to go to a concert, just me and Chris. And my little
Ah,
guy's like, no, I want to go to that concert. And I'm like, nope, this is for the adults. Although he's going to
good
be
for
adults, but
you.
it's for the parents, not the adults, parents. And
Yes, yes. Well, I've always felt that way. We've been empty nesters since day one, and having four-legged daughters, that's for sure. So, it's interesting because my aunt and uncle are having us out to California, and in this stage of our life with still processing through everything that was lost with Hurricane
yes,
Helene, we are going out there, and it's a tricky thing. And you're right. I thought about that because Michael's like, I really could use this right now, for having a break from everything with the house and the devastation and being displaced for, so many days. And I thought, okay, and when this airs, hopefully everything will be through. But with the challenges right now with air travel and just so many things going on, I thought that will nurture our relationship. So we are going. Now, I will say we took counsel from Carrie Getz, who's been on the show years ago, because she's an aviation expert.
travel. Yep.
So we said, let's make sure with her that she believes it's still good to go. So I think Laura would appreciate, we're taking counsel from her, from Carrie. That's the other thing that I thought about with a lot of Laura's answers and her approach to life is be an expert, utilize experts. And I mean, perhaps I'm hearing that because I want to, because I believe that, but it's like, hey, if you're an expert or you can get an expert in healthcare or about anything else with your life or job, do it, because that's where you can really be experience centric when you're not concerned about everything else that's going on. So lots of nuggets there, wonderful ways to certainly embrace and encourage ourselves and others. So that's what I'm doing with it, is certainly the song, the reminder, utilizing it with clients, and continuing to move forward as we're in this stage of nurturing a phase in our relationship that we will be happy to be through.
Yep. She talked about gratitude also,
Mhm.
in the way of, instead of saying thank you, she tells individuals a personalized story of why she appreciates them.
Mhm.
And so I
Yes.
implemented that as well on my trip, and I loved it. I really felt like it was a more of a connection than an automatic.
Yes. And I prefer to say you at the beginning instead of I. And that's not a criticism of hers, it's a personality thing with me. So I attempted to say, I appreciate you. And it didn't feel sincere to me. I
Yes.
liked you are, like I'd say, Barb, you are appreciated because of keeping us on track with our shows and keeping the numbers going and flowing. So thank you. And then I like to end with a thank you. So I tweaked it a bit, not because it was wrong. It's right for Laura. What worked better for me is to say you and then add the thank you at the end. That is sincere from me. So
I
that
will
was
try
my
that.
change.
I will try that on my next feedback loop.
Okay, feedback loop is good.
As we close this out, please know, listeners, that you can stay connected with us on Instagram and Facebook at the Business of Life Masterclass, me on Instagram at the Stay at Work Mom, and Debbie Lundberg is Debbie Lundberg most everywhere. Debbie is Debbie Lundberg Coach on TikTok. If you like what you heard, please rate us 5 stars. We are committed to providing you with 5-star guests just like Lara. So stay tuned, and thank you for joining us for this episode of the Business of Life Masterclass, the podcast for successful people embracing every chance to accomplish and experience all you can in business and in life.
Listen, choose, do. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you have ever thought, gosh, I'd like a collaborator, I wonder what else I could do, it's likely that the answer is a coach. Hi, I'm Debbie Lundberg, Performance and Mindset Coach with Presenting Powerfully. And if you would like confidential coaching to drive you to the next idea, the next role, or even to figure out your own brand, please reach out to us at Presenting Powerfully, 813-494-4438. Thank you.